You're listening to the Back Home Network, presented by Home Field Apparel.
All right, folks, welcome back to Crimson Cash. We're keeping the podcast streak alive. This is like the 7th podcast this week. Galen has been all over it. Tons of good stuff. Actually just got off with Galen. I hopped on a preview. I was like, this is a big week. I got to do a preview. I totally screwed up last week. I completely forgot about Crimson Cash. It was a bye week, stuff going on. So that's on me. It was not on James. I know if the line out there was probably, definitely, plus 500. James was the one who missed it, but no, it was my fault. Ben, we do want to, so before we get started though, do want to shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Check them out. They have all kinds of great stuff. Buy something for IU this weekend. Home Field Apparel, use the promo code HOME23, get 15% off your first purchase. James, it is upon us. We're going to, as always, save the IU game for end, but this is the week, man. This is the week. It could all happen.
Oh man, I'm so stoked for this. Like, I don't even care about any of these other games. Like, you're just gonna throw each game at me. I'm just gonna pass. Let's get to the IU game because that's all I really care about this week. I am all over it from all sorts of different betting angles. I can't wait. But there is also a shitty slate of Big Ten games going along with the premier matchup in college football this weekend.
There is. It's funny. If you would have asked me beginning of the season, what's the premier game this week? Probably would have been Wisconsin, Nebraska.
Yeah, probably. That would probably have been the best one on the board. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go through the lines quickly. Then we can talk as much IU Ohio State as we want because that's fun to talk about. Let's go to the other side of the Big Ten, the worst team in the Big Ten. So much fun to say. 1-9 Purdue. There we go. Purdue music. Even though I'm not at home, just when you suck this bad, you get to be made fun of every week. Purdue is going to Michigan State. Michigan State is a 13.5-point favorite at home against Purdue.
Purdue sucks. And that's just, it's just a straight out fact. I don't like a huge spread like this, but I do love that it's under 2 touchdowns. Sparty seemed game against the Hoosiers, and they don't have a lot of chances to beat up on other teams. So I think they're going to take every opportunity to do so. So give me Sparty to roll here.
8 p.m. Fox game too. That's odd.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
I actually don't mind the under on that either, 48.5. I think that might be in play, but I like the spread, Michigan State to cover that better.
Not a bad call. All right. Illinois going out to New Jersey to play Rutgers. Illinois, still not sure if they're good or not. Like, we still wonder. Illinois goes in as a 1-point favorite going into Rutgers.
All right, well, I will let you know, Scott, Illinois is not good. They're not good. They are the vaunted big win that Penn State has.
Right.
And because, I believe Penn State is a bunch of frauds. So Illinois, I don't believe they're that good. Rutgers has kind of bit me in the ass a few times this year, so I'm kind of hesitant to take them. But I do like them in this game. They've looked a lot better the last couple weeks. They do both have a recent common opponent in Minnesota. Illinois lost, Rutgers won. So I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to stay away from it. I'm not going to bet it. But if I were, I would take Rutgers on the money line and get some plus odds.
Oh, you're not going to bet, but we lost your audio.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we lost my audio.
Nobody's calling me. Now you're muted, Scott. I can see the mute button on your screen.
Unmute.
Can you hear me?
Go. All right, so you're going to stay away from this. I can hear you.
I'm going to stay away, yeah. But if I were to bet it, I would probably take Rutgers. Maybe if you're watching the game, I doubt you will be. But if somebody's sitting around watching that game, maybe just keep an eye on it. Whoever gets up first, maybe take the other team to cover the spread over a touchdown at that point.
Yeah, it's a noon game. No one else is watching this game.
Yeah, no.
All right. Next up, we have Iowa at Maryland. What's funny, we have the songs for our teams on at home. I have a Maryland song. Don't tell me anything. I was like looking through the slate today, loading up my my Roadcaster to get the audio in, and I was like, man, we don't have a Maryland song. And I looked at my files, like, oh, we do have a Maryland song. I totally forgot what it is. So I'm about to find out with the audience. What?
It's not a song. It's a movie quote.
Crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does.
That's
Right,
now,
man.
now I remember. Okay. Iowa, Maryland. Maryland is a 6.5-point underdog at home with their crab cakes.
Yeah, and an over-under of 48 on this game, which Iowa seems about right.
I'm going 45.5.
Wow, so we have seen some movement there.
Yeah.
But we still have Iowa at -6.5. I'm going to take the Hawkeyes to cover.
Okay. Next up, we have Wisconsin at Nebraska. If I had a sound of a balloon being let go, I think that's what we could do, but we don't. Nebraska is a 1.5-point favorite at home against Wisconsin.
What an interesting and horrible game this will be. I think if there's a way both teams could lose, these are the two programs that would probably do it right now in the Big Ten. But I'm going to take Wisconsin to win outright. So that's where I'm at on this.
Okay.
I think it's hilarious if Nebraska does not become bowl eligible. It would be like the funniest thing after they started 5-1, and then we destroyed them and literally broke their souls, and they couldn't become bowl eligible. That would be pretty fantastic.
If you're true, they went from being good to suck, like just as quick as possible. All right, next up we have Northwestern playing Michigan, who I guess sucks now because we beat them. I always, it's just keep getting the whiplash on whether teams are good or bad depending on how we're playing them. But Northwestern goes in as a 10.5-point underdog to Michigan.
Okay, now I've got a total on this of 36.5.
That's what I'm seeing too,
which is one of the lowest totals in the Big Ten all year. So I'm going to take the over.
All right.
It just screams to me, this is out of the norm. This is different. And of course, yes, this could be like a 20-10 game. Weather's not going to be great on Saturday in northern Indiana or southern Michigan. So I don't know. I like the over here though. I think Northwestern can put up some points, and Michigan will as well.
Since I'm also on the fraud bus with you with Penn State, they get a Penn State, the Kitties.
I've got a new one for them.
Oh,
next time it's going to be the song "Kitty" by Lump, or by President of the United States of America, who also did the song Lump.
We'll see. Let me think. Let me think about that one for a sec. This is deep cuts. Penn State going into Minnesota. Penn State is a 11.5-point favorite on the road.
A double-digit road favorite against a fairly decent Minnesota team. Yeah, screw that. I'll take the Gophers and the points. Frauds. They're frauds.
All right, last up. This is for both of them. It's just a battle of Californias in the Rose Bowl. USC, which has had quite a disappointing season, is going into the Rose Bowl. They are a 4.5. USC is a 4.5-point favorite on the road against UCLA. This
is one of the best football games to watch every year because not only is it in the Rose Bowl, but both teams have great uniforms and they wear their home kits. It's just fantastic. I love watching it. I like points. Points.
51.5.
51.5. Ridiculous. Take the over here. This is a no-brainer to me. These teams, look at their head-to-heads over the past 5 years. The winning team has scored over 51 in 3 of those, I believe. So I think we're pretty good here, taking the over.
All right, we get to it. The game we've been waiting for.
Yes.
Ranked IU, that's nuts to say, against second-ranked Ohio State. Indiana comes in as a 12-point underdog at home. Give us your thoughts on the line movement, and then feel free to talk about all of the lead up to this game, and then your thoughts on what's going to happen. There's so much meat on the bone here, so go nuts.
This line's bullshit. I'm just calling that out right now. Okay. Before the Michigan game, this early line had come out at 9.5. After IU beats Michigan, the line starts to creep up. And then they have the bye week, and the line keeps going up. We were at 11 before Ohio State dismantled Northwestern. Then it got up to 13 and a half at some books. We're sitting at 12 now?
Right.
All right. You can still get it 12 and a half at BetMGM as of right now. So, but most of the others are at 12. So we've seen that go back down. I think this is probably where we're going to settle in. We may see it go back down to 11, somewhere in that range. So you may lose a point. Get it while you can. I got it at 13 earlier in the week.
Nice.
It's kind of like watching the stock market. I mean, with these early line bets, you got to kind of follow where the trends are going and look at multiple books. So that's one thing to keep in mind with this. But this line being bullshit is because, do you know what they have the IU team total at?
No, I mean, they have it over 51.5.
Some books you can get it at 17.5, some at 19.5. Indiana University, who has not scored less than 20 points all freaking year. All right. I think that IU's offense is being vastly underrated and Ohio State's defense is being vastly overrated in this matchup. And I think that that's where Vegas is really wrong. I'm going to give you some other stuff that I love on this game. All right. You guys like prop bets? You like single game parlays? They're suckers bets. All right. But we all want to do them because we get the bonuses and we get the boost, or we might get a bet, a risk-free token or whatever. Here's some things. This is ridiculous to me. If you ever bet prop bets, look at this. Justin Ellison to score a touchdown, plus 129. Plus odds for Justin Ellison to score a touchdown. And Tyson Lawton at plus 156. And get this, Miles Price at anywhere from plus 350 to plus 485 anytime touchdown scorer.
I like all those. I
mean, you can get almost 5-1 on Miles Price to score a touchdown. And you want to know what his over-under yards are? 24.5. 24.5 receiving yards for Miles Price. I mean, they're practically giving you money here, people. Now, Ellison and Lawton, they've got 40 and 34.5 are their over-under on yards. One of those is going to go over.
Right.
I don't know which one. And so that's a little scary, and you may want to stay away from that. But here's another one for you. Keshawn Williams, 25.5 as his over-under yards. So, I mean, we've got some really, really low stuff here, some low-hanging fruit that I think you can kind of pick off if you really want to. And I love this IU team total. 17.5 is ridiculous. You can take some points off of that, parlay it with, something else too. Maybe you want to parlay IU on the spread with, the team total at, over 13.5 or something like that. And maybe take plus 17.5. You're still going to get plus odds on that. So there are a lot of different ways to come at this. If you want to do that, I also recommend sprinkling a little on IU to win. Now, I have a lot riding on IU to win currently because if they make the Big Ten championship game, my $10 bet pays out over $1,100 from earlier this season. So I have a ton riding on this game. My buddy texted me. He's like, "Are you gonna hedge? Are you gonna hedge on Ohio State?" I'm like,
"No."
Yeah, I'd have to take out like a second mortgage to get that amount to cover the minus odds. The thing makes no sense. So no, we're not doing that. I do like hedging when it's appropriate. And in this instance, it's not, because the original odds were just so unbelievably insane that IU would make the Big Ten championship game. But here we are. And I like their chances in this game. I actually like them to win in this game. I think they've got a 40% chance to win. Ohio State's offensive line, the injury to their center, that's a huge thing. I mean, a center injury is big. And they're playing with kind of a makeshift unit anyways. And we have a defensive line that can create a lot of problems. They show a lot of different looks. We're not afraid to blitz. It's great. And the other thing we do is we tackle, we wrap up. And that's what they rely on, is not being, not getting wrapped up, not being tackled. So can we get Judkins, Henderson, Smith? Who's their freshman wide receiver? I can't remember his name. Jeremiah something or other.
No.
I don't know. Anyways, he's really good. I don't know his name, but I guess he's really good. But Abuka and so, those guys, can we get them down? Can we wrap them? Can we keep them from getting those extra yards? That was one of the things in the second half against Michigan. Donovan Edwards, I don't know if the stats showed out, but watching the game, being at the game, it felt like every time he got hit, he was able to squirt ahead for an extra yard or two in that second half.
Right.
And it just like that's demoralizing for a defense, So can we stop that from happening? The other thing I'm really worried about is Will Howard rushing for, some wacky first down a couple times, And then my greatest fear is it's a close game and there's some wacky call that goes against IU that completely turns the tide of the game. The Big Ten literally changed their bylaws 4 years ago to keep IU out of the Big Ten championship game. They are not above that. And so that worries me a little bit. So we got to get
the other week with Oregon and Wisconsin, where Wisconsin, like just a wild chop block call that wasn't there.
The exact same thing.
Yeah.
And so that worries me a little because I don't know that they think we're that good of a story. Although I would disagree. I think we're the best story there is. We're the fucking Dirty Dozen. Which is we're a group of guys that nobody wanted that have come together. I don't know if you've seen the listing of like star rankings of the two teams and like where they were in their class. It's just it's ridiculous. You think Curtis Fork didn't want to go to Ohio State? He sat there playing at Ohio, like he was MAC Player of the Year. You think Ohio State even sniffed or reached out to him? No, he wants to stick it to him. All these guys want to stick it to teams like this. And to me, that's every bit as powerful as, hey, we're Ohio State. We deserve to win because we're Ohio State. I think Cignetti's going to have a chip on these guys' shoulders, and they may lose this game, but there's no fucking way they're losing by double digits. I can't see it. I just don't see it.
I agree. I think that line, I'm going to hammer the points there because I think Indiana's getting vastly overvalued. I mean, the thing is, if you just look at, so last year, Michigan, I think, was a 3-point underdog at home against Ohio State, if I have that correct. But you look at, Michigan didn't play a killer schedule last year, but they're Michigan. And so when they play Ohio State, maybe it was a 1-point spread. It was a tight spread, but it was, all right, they played a soft schedule, but it's Michigan. They're still there. If this was Penn State or Michigan, not Indiana, this would not be a 13 or 12-point line. No. It would be a 7.5-point line at most, probably like a 6.5 or a 5.5-point line. Take advantage of this.
We have the coaching advantage in this game too.
Yeah,
I'm just going to say that Ryan Day is not a great coach. Now Chip Kelly, he knows what the shit he's doing. So I'm worried he's going to scheme up something brilliant. But we've also had a bye week. What was the last time Cignetti did coming off a bye week? We won 56-7. Yeah. So. I don't know, man. Like, I just really like the fact that we've had a week to get rest, to prepare, to be ready. And I don't know if Ohio State's looking ahead to Michigan.
Yeah. Well,
there may be people looking forward to Michigan.
That's what I've said a while. That's a game they have to win. Like, they have to win that Michigan game. And, don't sleep on this. And I do really believe this is a factor. If Indiana just can land a punch, get up, all of the pressure goes on to Ohio State. If Indiana gets up 10-3 and Ohio State goes, 6 and out, and then Indiana's got the ball and they're driving and it looks like they might go down 17-3, that whole place is going to be like, what the hell is going on? All the players are going to be like, we can't lose to Indiana. Like, and it's funny. I mentioned this in the podcast with Galen, all the conversation has been about, how do we deal with an 11-1 Indiana team? How do they stack up against a 2-loss SEC team? Like, just all this talk. There's been very, very little talk about what happens if Indiana beats Ohio State and where does Ohio State fit in. They probably they fit in just fine in the playoff, but suddenly now they're a loss of Michigan away from being out of the college football playoff. Having coaches fired. I mean, it gets real messy real quick there. And I look at it, outside of Indiana just completely getting, throttled, which I don't think is happening. Not that they have nothing to lose, but, if it's a tight game, there'll be some pressure. There's going to be a lot more pressure for Ohio State. They, in my mind, they have way more riding on this. And if they're down, I can feel their assholes puckering up a lot more than Indiana's.
Well, I think that's the plan, is to be aggressive. Strike hard, strike fast.
And that's what he's been all year.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to go on Mike Leach here, but, the term blitz is a defensive term that they use, right? But it really comes from the German word Blitzkrieg, which was an overwhelming offensive force coming at an opponent, right? And so I think that's really what we're looking at here. I mean, Cignetti wants to get that ball moving. I think we're going to see a little bit of tempo. I think we're going to see I think we're going to see the offense looking a little bit different. I think we're going to see the kitchen sink. There is no play in the playbook that is off limits this weekend.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, I really like our chances.
I do too. All right, we got to get to the hot streak.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
All right, we got the hot streak. Give us, I have it up here. Give us, and there's a lot of ways you can go here, but show us. We're back down to two games. Give us a hot streak for the week.
Well, this is an easy one. Pick Purdue to lose and IU to cover. Who doesn't like that, right? So that makes for a pretty good college football weekend.
Yep, Indiana to cover. I love all the props you were
By
talking
the way,
about.
Indiana has covered 8 out of 10 games this year.
Yeah.
Ohio State 5-5. All right. So just remember that too when you're looking at this, you know. And this is the first time IU's been a dog all year too.
It's a fair point. I cannot.
They've trailed like for a total of like what 5 minutes, 10 minutes all year. So
yeah, it hasn't been much. I cannot wait to talk to you next week. Because we're either going to be looking college football playoff, or if we win, it is, you know, this is where I keep.
If we win, you'll hear me screaming in delight from Fort Wayne all the way to Westfield. You will hear me screaming.
Same here, man. I'll be screaming.
Unless the sound of Galen screaming from Columbus drowns me out. Yes.
It's something where, you know, I understand most IU fans are just can't fully grasp the idea of going into Columbus and winning. And I'm in that boat too. But I also, you know, I enjoy these moments where it's all possible. And 11-0 is possible. And I like just playing in that space just a little bit and thinking about what it would be like. And I keep coming back to, if we go in there and win, I really think we come out now with a case to say we're the number one team in the country. Like the SEC can suck, and we're the number one team in the country, because the number one team right now is Oregon, and we have a common opponent in Ohio State. They played them at home. We were on the road, and we won. So I would say we're the number one. No, although I joke, somehow Penn State will still be above us. Like when they come out the ranking, they'll find a way to put Penn State above us.
If we go in and we win by 17 points, Penn State will still be ahead of us.
Yeah, Penn State will be ranked 1, and they'll be like, well, they have a really good strength of schedule. And, you know,
they got that big Illinois win. Don't forget about that, Scott.
Yeah. It would be really funny when we win this to see what the SEC reaction would be, because they've been, you know, trying so hard to protect themselves and protect their seeds. You know, if we win, does something that ire go? Does it just go away, or does it go toward Penn State or Ohio State?
No, they will have to now bow down before their new football overlords from Bloomington. So,
or we just get the man. Ohio State really sucks.
That's what it'll be. Ohio State's not any good.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana hasn't beaten a top 5, because then Ohio State will be ranked like 7th or 8th.
Ohio State's lost 2 games. Come on,
they can't beat a top 5 team. Like they're just who are they going to beat? Oh man, would you go to?
Wait? Question: Who's stupider, Ryan Russillo or Joey Galloway?
What did Joey? I didn't hear Joey. I heard Russillo.
Galloway suggested that the Hoosiers bench Curtis Rourke for the Ohio State game so he doesn't get injured, and they can assure themselves a spot in the college football playoff.
That's ridiculous. I heard Ohio State's Barstool Twitter or Instagram account had today, we should just forfeit the game, because if you forfeit, the NCAA shows it as a 1-0 loss, and like that would be enough to get them in, versus going in and getting throttled. It's like this is not what you would normally say. Like when Alabama's playing Auburn, no one's like Auburn should just forfeit. Like the amount of like, oh, this is so great. The kid with, you know, no legs and no arms is getting to play basketball. Like it's absurd. Some of the people with the little respect we get.
Nothing I love more than flying in under the radar like this, though.
Yeah.
And nobody thinks you're going to win. Nobody expects you to do anything except for the guys in that locker room. And I guarantee every last one of them thinks they can win this game on Saturday. I guarantee it.
If we make the Big Ten championship, are you coming to that game?
Well, hell, I'll be able to afford tickets, right? So,
yeah, you'll have $1,100. You might be in a suite, baby.
We'll see.
Would you go college football playoff? Will you host a home game? Like, what are you?
I did put in for tickets for if we host a college football playoff game. So I've put in for tickets for that. So I will be there if that ends up happening.
Okay. Yeah, I would go Big Ten championship. I would go first round, and then I'd probably be in for the rest of the games. Although we're taking a trip over Christmas break. I wasn't planning on having IU football in my life this long. So I might miss one of the games being able to go to if we make like the second, third round of the college football playoff.
If we end up in the Fiesta Bowl, I know I'll be able to talk my wife into that because she loves Arizona. So,
Yeah.
So fingers
Right,
crossed on that.
Let me ask you this. I'm coaching my son in basketball. The schedule could not be worse for me. Our game this weekend is at 1:00 on Saturday. I was talking to Galen. He's like, just stop coaching youth sports.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, that's I know I'm going to coach. I'm good father. Got to keep doing it. I think where I've landed after talking with Galen is I'm not going to try and time shift this. I'm not going to try and go off and then just catch the game, at 3:00 when I get home. I think I'm just going to watch it up until 1:00. And then when I coach my game, just keep, I actually won't have my phone because we have an app where we can record the games. So my phone will be recording the game. So I'm just going to be, just an hour not paying attention and then right back into it. That's kind of there's a local bar up here. I might just hop right over to there with my family and just watch the end of the game there. That's what I think I'm going to do. I'm curious your thoughts. You talked me through the last time I had to deal with this coming off a plane with the Nebraska game.
Galen's got the better idea.
So
I'd call the game. I'd cancel it. I'd say, sorry, there are better games going on than this piece of shit Little League basketball game. I got better stuff to do, fellas. I'm out. That's what I'd do.
Okay.
And my son would totally respect that. So that's where I would be. I can't imagine a scenario where I would miss this game to be at a damn Little League basketball game. Like, the only way is if my wife was threatening divorce or something. Like, it's like the kid would understand, man. Like, I don't know. My parents didn't go to all my shit when I was a kid, and I turned out okay.
But I'm the head coach. I'm the head coach.
Yeah.
I can't cancel a game.
You're exactly in the position to do that. Like, I mean, as the head coach.
That's not fair to the other kids. I hear you.
There's got to be some other asshole parent that's always yelling at you about how you're not doing it right or playing their kid enough. Tell them, hey, this Saturday you get the chance to coach the team. Step on up, Shooter. And then you hand them the little playbook. Shooter comes in.
Maybe this is not a bad idea. Maybe that's what I do is I go there. I start like 2 kids. I keep the rest of the team on the bench. The parents start yelling. It's like, oh, you think you can do better? Fine. Take my spot. And then I just walk out.
There you go. Yeah. Just get into it with some local parent. I guarantee they're probably a dime a dozen in Westfield. You can probably find a Karen anywhere you look.
Or I get into it with I actually know the refs well. Like they're good guys. I just be like, hey man, just throw me out of the game. Come on.
Exactly. You got to go Hackman on them. Throw me out of the game.
Throw me out of the game and I'll yell like I yell like a crazy stuffed pig or something. Like on the tip.
We found your play.
Man.
There you go.
No, we got the ball on the tip. Come on, what the F you talking about? And like, boom, I'm out. And I'm like, all right, see you guys later. Going to the bar.
See, and I would take it a step further and make such a scene that I was banned permanently from the venue, and then I didn't have to worry about coaching anymore. So
no. But
as a former Little League baseball coach, that was one of the most unrewarding things I have ever done in my life. None of the kids wanted to be there. I didn't want to be there. Nobody wanted to be there. Nobody wanted to play baseball. Their parents were just making them do it.
That's because baseball is no fun. Basketball has been a fun. For coaching,
I asked all the kids who their favorite baseball player was on the first day of practice, just trying to get them to know. Only one kid knew a baseball player. So
that's a more of a baseball problem than I think.
Yeah, probably.
But no, I like the idea. Maybe I'll just yell at the refs. But I'll do it like this. I'll be like watching the game while I'm yelling at the ref, being like, hey, like that's a foul. That's a foul. Like, throw me out. Come on, we had a deal. Throw me out. All right.
What would Bobby Knight do to get kicked out? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Give yourself that.
Chuck a chair. All right, man. It's awesome. Enjoy the game. I will enjoy the first, third, and fourth quarters. I will be coaching the second quarter and not watching it. And by the way, just know this. If we're up 17-0 and then going into the second quarter, in the second quarter we give up 17, I will be I don't know if I can watch it anymore. I'm the bad luck. So just everyone keep that in mind too. Anyway, James, we've gone long. I appreciate it, man. I will see you next week. Thank everybody for listening. This is Scott for Crimson Cash signing off.
Post time.